kind of lies you go engage into this?
The regular ones.
That word so
It's
much.
published. I don't understand. This seems if I'm ready for viewers, this must touch some public stuff.
Yeah, I would have want to
You're a
read
liar. No, really. You? Can somebody check
Not
if
as much as I
YouTube is
like.
live, please? Oh, you have to go there because I'm on Facebook. Well, we know Facebook.
You would have alerted me
I
though.
noticed.
I didn't get an alert.
Girl.
Oh, yes.
You got that alert?
Yeah.
I didn't get it for.
Girl.
I got a notice that Keith was live on Facebook.
You went on TV?
Oh, sometimes it just needs to shine a touch. I guess the magic touch.
Yeah, checking the YouTube one.
No, Sean and YouTube,
Actually,
Don
no,
and
you could have
Facebook.
come.
Who?
Well, so much headroom.
Oh, you mean
up here?
down?
Yeah.
Feel good.
No, you can't fill it with the pro. You cannot fill it with the pro.
That one? Or that one? Which one? You want head? Which one you want?
No,
This
they're
one?
fine. They're fine.
No, it's
because
cool,
when
it's
you,
cool.
When you put it in iMovie, it cuts off some anyway. So I always stay on time.
We are 8:01.
Okay, let's turn this off. Take it away, Mr. Keith.
Entertainment by Sean.
Get me there.
Okay.
Good day and welcome to another episode of The Caribbean Edge. So good to have you here. My name is Keith Heron.
Shauna Whittingham.
Dawn Wilson.
Sean Spalding.
And today we're going to hit a topic that all of us love so much. Lies. Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Do we lie? You think we do?
Think?
Yeah.
Think?
Don't lie.
More like no.
All right. Well, we're just going to ask the basic question here. Do we lie? And everybody can give their own explanation as to what they think on that topic. Sean, you want to start off?
From a personal standpoint?
Yeah.
I lie. I think I lie more to myself. More than to other people, self-deception. But yeah, if we're not grading it, the kind of lies, white, gray, black, like blue, black.
Blue, black.
Yeah. You don't know those? Yeah, those are real ones. They're earth-shattering.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it.
Yeah. Dawn?
Do I lie?
Oh, watch your now, one coming out.
I do lie. I, however, try my best not to lie. I do feel that being an honest person in most situations, despite the consequences, that I would rather tell the truth. So despite the consequences, unless someone's life's at risk, sometimes if it's to spare someone's feelings. But in general, I honestly do my best to tell the truth, but I still lie.
Shauna?
I lie every day. Not facetiously or pathologically, but for some of the same reasons that Dawn explained. Sometimes, actually, I want to back up what you said. I think sometimes I tell a lie believing it's the truth. Just having that different perspective, and then sometimes as time go on and knowledge or experience, I have a different outlook. So
But is that a lie though?
Well,
Did you believe it to be true at the time you said it?
True. But I think that's a form of, because we have a responsibility, especially when we become adults, to fact check and to be educated And you know, just be responsible for the things that we are saying and the things that we're doing, especially when we have little ones that we need to set an example for. But going back to some of what Dawn said, I think I lie to spare feelings, or just depending on my mood. If I'm not in the mood for like a confrontation or even an explanation, it's just easier to
You can I'm bursting at the seams
Oh,
right
oh,
now to ask you something.
oh,
Yeah.
Before you go,
Whistle.
you said the little ones. Do you like the little ones?
I try not to, but I do. And I was thinking about this today
Okay.
because when each of my daughters were born, I started a journal for each of them. And the reason for this journal is so that when they get into their 30s, their 20s, their 30s, they can go back and look at it. And I've questioned myself, because if I'm going through a rough patch in life, or actually not even in a happy mood, like I don't put those things in the journal. And then I put, not to say that only happy things are in the journal. I will put events, things that happen. A lot of it is factual about when they start to walk, blah blah blah. But I notice that I don't write in the journal if it's an unhappy time or unhappy experience. I at least won't write at that time. And so I ask myself, are you really giving, you're not giving them the whole.
Well, you can't either.
Yeah.
I think that's a justified lie, so to speak. Not that any lie should be justified, but it's not. Sometimes it's not worth the consequences of the shock factor, especially for your children, if you did that. So I don't think it's a lie. You're just not stating it.
Me, I don't lie.
I'm ready for
That's
that
the
right
first
now. I'm ready for that right now.
I don't lie, and that is a lie. All right.
I smile like a Cheshire cat over
But you
here.
know what? So here's a funny thing about lies, right? Lies. There's some people who lie so much that they believe they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
We know about one. All of us know about one in particular. We're not going to
The same
call
person?
Agent Orange.
We're not going to call it any name or anything like that, right? But you know what? I think the different lies here. What is our interpretation of a lie? Because it could be limited by your scope or what you're in, your knowledge, and at the time you think it's the truth. And I think we went over this just now, where you think it's the right thing at that time.
But you know, I think we should define. Do Americans say lie? They don't say lie, though.
Good question.
Right. I think we
There you
need to define what is
They
a
say
lie.
fib,
Right.
or they say, all right, so
No, what do you call it? What do we call it? What do we call it?
It's on a lie.
Lie.
No.
Fib,
It's
untrue.
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 So that's a
But that's-
reflection of our morality, or however we're brought up. It's so abhorrent. Lying is so abhorrent that you don't even want to say
Say the
lie.
word
You say
lie.
untrue.
Right.
yes, you're
So I mean,
definitely
this is
right.
part here. It almost becomes part
Because
here.
untrue doesn't stab. It doesn't go straight to the heart as
No.
much as when a person say, I'm going to murder you.
But almost you have to ask the question, does that help it? If you don't call it out as a lie, does that help it? Or it kind of fosters more lies?
Right.
Because you really not calling it out and lie, so maybe we can give you some more lies.
But
Yeah,
let's
so when they
define
give
what
up-
is a lie to you. What's a lie?
What my interpretation of a lie, I would say, to me, is when you know exactly what the truth is, and you defy what the truth is. So you coerce. You say you
For what gain?
trap.
For what gain? What's the
Well,
purpose?
For
of
whatever
that?
game,
Various
for whatever
reasons,
game,
you know?
for whatever game, maybe for wealth or to win someone's hand
Does it depend?
or to coerce somebody into a business deal, whatsoever. You know the truth, and this is a now. This sometimes come into, let's say, sales, and you go out to sell a product. Now you know there's other product better than yours. But you go out and you tell them, I have the best product out there, and this is to put food on the table for your kids. I am the best workman. My carpet is the best. My windows are the best. My blinds are the best. My roofs are the best. And this is the best. And you know other people doing better work than you out there. Is that considered a lie? That's to put food on your table.
But what somebody is suffering because of that lie. The reason I'm pushing it, right, is because
I
like,
understand.
all right, yeah, Immanuel Kant has his categorical imperative, right, which he believes that in his belief, he says that all lies should be avoided. It doesn't matter because
big or small.
because if you lie, regardless of the reason, you put a rip in the social fabric. So the whole morality of everything has been tainted. You made a mention of it depends. If I need to save somebody, then I might lie. He says that no, you don't lie then either. I need this point. So let me ask you this now. Suppose you are here. This was his problem that he posed. Suppose you're at home and you have a friend with you at home, and there's a murderer looking for them. The murderer comes through the door, and the murderer asks, "Where is John?" Right? John is there with you now, but he's hiding. So do you say John is here? Or do you not say? But so before you answer, let me give you the reason why he asked that. Because he says lying is the ultimate objectification. Because no, I'm lying because of my ends versus for my ends versus your means.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So what do you do? Would you like?
In that scenario, if he came for John to kill John, I'm gonna say John's right
Oh,
there
shit.
because he's gonna kill me.
No.
All right,
No, you're bringing something else into the argument.
joking,
So Sean Don is no longer my friend. Sean Don. I'm not saying this ain't very good point.
Yeah,
Would you lie?
I would. I think I would.
You would lie? What would you?
I think so.
It depends on who John is to me.
It's your good friend.
Yes.
No, I would.
However good
I
a
would-
friend is.
I would protect John.
You protect him?
Yes.
What would you
Protect John.
Okay, so he says, and this is very interesting. He says that you're still to say John is right there, go and get him. The reason being is because if you lie, no, whatever happens by him leaving and going and putting other people in danger, no, you are morally responsible for his actions after that point.
Sure.
If you don't lie and you tell him John is here, then whatever takes place, the onus is not on you, it's on him.
Right.
Then
So
suppose
you
you
have
say,
freed yourself from moral responsibility.
but trust me, if a man come in and want to murder John, as soon as the man leave, me and John have something, I'm going to say, John, what you do?
You're going to you're boss John.
Yeah. But I'm not going to hey boss, what on?
So what is a lie to all of us?
Right.
Right, so there goes another lie, chasing another lie.
Right. It's
Exactly. So this is
No.
how it compounds. So lies aren't really innocent.
Right. Which I stated that I lie every day, and that sounds really bad, and that's not how I.
Baby, everybody lie every day. You're not alone.
No.
Trust me.
Just to finish the sentence.
No, but I do live by a high moral compass, and one of the things that keeps me honest, or at least from significant lies, is you guys know I live my life out loud. It is what it is. But back to how I tell you, if I'm not in a good mood, I don't write in a journal. Just like if somebody pissed me off, I'm not necessarily going to post that on social media. Does it mean that I am not showing my authentic or being my authentic self like all the time? So I remember my mother used to call me and I pick up the phone. Hello, Sean, are you okay? Yeah. Why, mommy? Well, put a smile in your voice when you answer the phone. And she would always tell me, like, even if you're not in a good mood, fake smile and a real smile will come. You know, and parts of me question, like, why am I fake smiling?
What's the first you in that?
That's but it's true. Try it. If you don't.
No, I know it works.
It's
Yeah,
a test.
it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So anyway, I say all that basically to say, I think as human beings we have a private life and we have a public life, and then we also have a personal life. There are things that no matter how close people are to you, they're not going to know that part of you. Does it mean you're lying? Does it mean you're not being your authentic self if you don't expose every single thing?
No, I just think that there's a need for privacy to some level, and you probably communicate differently with different people that need to know that, but you're still being true to yourself. I think, and you mentioned this, Shauna, that you lie to yourself, and people in general do. We say we look good, and we don't look good. Ourselves that we look good or whatever it is.
I say I look good. The camera
about myself. So I think I am honestly one of the most honest people I know. So I'm going to take a reverse on the lie. I think we lie. We lie about, and in researching this topic and thinking about it, one of the things is a small lie. So people may say we don't lie. But then if you say to someone, are you having a good day? Or how is your day? People just say, oh, it's okay. And even though it's not okay, you just lied, right?
Right.
So I try to say, I'm hanging in there. It's a great day, the sun, and I look for the positive side of that. The other side to me is I have a professional side, which forces me to probably not be my personal self. So in that way, in order to keep to my authentic self of not trying to lie, I choose my words wisely before I give information. So even at work, I try not to lie. I try to be honest. I may avoid certain responses in order to remain true to me being honest. In my personal life, I am more honest.
Because you can be more
because
raw.
I can, and I think that people should respect and accept that honesty. So if you ask me if your shirt look good and it doesn't look good, I'm going to tell you, okay, we were out Saturday.
You lying. You're
and
lying right now.
No, I'm going to prove it. 2 people said, Shauna, this picture looks great. Dawn, don't you think it looks great? And I said, no. Not that I don't think Shauna is beautiful. And I pulled up on Facebook. I said, this picture that she posted earlier is more appealing to me.
Oh, but
I didn't think.
Yeah, the back up.
No,
you couldn't just leave it. I don't look good.
Yeah.
No, but it didn't.
And that leaves the
No, but she was kind of, she didn't want the person to feel bad, so she was explaining why not that she didn't like it, but it wasn't
the best picture.
Yeah.
And Shauna didn't like it either. So they were trying to prove that this was a fabulous picture. And it was to them. So I'm not the person to ask if your child looks good. Because I may not say...
no, but you cause people to lie. You have a boyfriend and ask him, how do I look in a dress? You caused him to lie.
I don't ask him that because I have my own mirror. I don't need your opinion to tell me I look good.
Audience, you don't know that it's a lie. Every woman asks that question. How do I look?
No, I don't.
You never ask that question?
I don't need to.
How do I look?
Hi, Sherilyn.
Does he show up
Just to, Natalie, hi. She's saying hi to everybody. She wanted to share that I think we lie to obtain a favorable outcome rather than an unfavorable one, both personally and
professionally.
Yeah, so true, right?
But you know what? Let's change the word, just like we were doing earlier. Let's change it from lie to untruth, or do you fib? All of a sudden, people are going, oh yeah, do you tell a little white lie? Do you do that type of stuff? All of a sudden, it becomes easier to say, yes, I do.
I think they're all the same word.
Which is what the conclusion we came to earlier in the show.
Yeah.
It's all the same. It's just the way it feels that it's directed towards you.
I think consequence is different, but I think the actual act is the same. It's still lies.
Yeah.
It's like if you thief a penny versus thieving $1,000.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, panel and guest of the show today. Do you think that lies are limited to your knowledge, or whether you're ignorant of a certain fact, or you can't remember? Because normally you would perjure yourself if you're in court and you say, oh, I can't recollect. You know that normally happens, right?
Yeah.
Can't recollect. I have no knowledge of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're not going to go down that road because, boy, some court case is going to come up soon. But anyway, and we're going to hear a lot of that. But anyway, do you think lies are limited, or you're justified if you don't have knowledge, or you did not remember?
Do you mean? Let me make sure I understand this correctly. So you're asking if I don't know something, and I say I don't know, then no, that's not lying.
No, but let's say for instance, I said, weren't you at the function where XYZ happened and
You
this
say
came
no,
down?
collect.
You
And
were
to my
probably not-
limited recollection, I
right.
say no.
Exactly, because
Okay.
probably you were not in a room, so you didn't
Yeah.
witness it, you didn't see any of it, or you weren't even paying attention to anything like that, so you don't know. So either one.
Yeah, if I'm true to, I don't think if I'm true to myself, I don't think the in that instance the truth is empirical, because if you're seeking truth, but you place it within the context of law, and law, justice is never really seeking truth. It's just seeking, you know what I mean? Because
That's what I wanted to get to.
in a sense, or guilt is not, you're not really
Yeah.
seeking truth. You're just,
Yeah.
it's all relative. So I don't think I can really, I would say that that's a lie. It's based on what I recollect and what I know. So no, I'm not lying. No.
Yeah. How it go?
Knowledge.
If you look to the left, you're trying to remember. If you look to the right, you're trying to create. You're like you're making stuff up.
No, that's been proven to be
It's not.
complete
It's
garbage.
not. No, it's
Yeah.
rubbish.
This is a new one.
Oh, which how it go?
All right, you guys watching, try this. Write a Q with your finger on your forehead. Okay, so you know the strike at the slash. Where did the slash go, to your right shoulder or your left shoulder?
Right shoulder.
Right shoulder? Okay, so congratulations. So you guys are less prone to be lying. And if you guys out there, the slash went to the right shoulder, you're less prone to lie. If the slash went to the left, that means you're more self-aware. So you're aware of how people are looking at you, and you are now conveying what you want them to see. So you're completely aware of the situation.
Very
Right?
interesting.
So you're more, I mean, it's not foolproof,
Right.
but it gives a good idea
I
of how
understand.
aware you are and your
And I understand that
your
because
readiness to lie.
there's a few other tests, and it's your perspective of which you consider more what everybody thinks or what you think. Because actually, if you form the Q, you're forming the Q over everyone else.
Yeah.
And that is, they have quite a few different tests that you can take that will show. the
Yeah,
same
yeah, there's
thing.
several.
Yeah.
So, which brings me to a point. You know, as we decided on this topic, I started to think about people and myself specifically. I think when we are true to ourselves first and foremost, and really, there's just something very liberating in being honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One, you don't have to remember nothing, because
Exactly,
you don't
that's
have to
me.
draw on anything that was fabricated, because you never lied. The truth was as you believed it at the time, right? So that's good. Not only that, I think even if you have to tell a person no, or even in the situation that Dawn shared where she didn't really like the picture, you can do that with tact. There's so many people who hide behind the truth, and they're just such assholes and bitches. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but they're mean with it, and they're like, I'm a real person. Yeah, but you're mean. You're
No,
nasty
you're
with it. You can still be honest.
When
and
keeping it
not be a
real
jerk.
goes wrong.
Yeah. but the actual point I want to make is that I find that when we're honest with ourselves and we're honest with the people around us, that people love you more, flaws and all. They feel that genuineness. They feel.
I would agree.
When you're pretending, people they might not see it, they might not know what it is, but there's your spidey sense go up, because we're multi-sensory human beings, and so even if we can't see it or touch it or feel or smell it or to taste it, there's something in you like that person. You know what
I think
Jamaica
when
is, the spirit not take
you're spitting the tech and them rub me the wrong way. Them a rub you? You get rubbed from them, you're lucky.
Like I had a conversation actually this morning with one of the executives at work, and it was following through from a meeting we had, and I was asked a specific question. So my option was to lie and defend this person, or to tell the truth. There's no option for me other than to tell the truth, and she wasn't happy that I told the truth. And so she came into my office and questioned it, and I said, let me make this clear. I will never, under any circumstances, compromise me. I will tell you the truth. If that means I get fired, I will tell the truth. So I think there, like what Shauna just said, there's some self-satisfaction that you get from being honest. And I find that honesty, sometimes you have to explain to people, especially people that are not used to that honesty, is listen, being truthful to you is more important to me, and it should be just as equally important to you than you go through life with people that lie to you all the time. So, Garfield puts a question in the chat as well and said, honey, does this dress make me look fat? Should I respond, no, your butt is fat and the dress is fine? Yes, Garfield, you should tell her butt is fat in that dress because it is fat.
Garfield,
Don't break up a happy home. Do not break up a happy home.
Fat is a good thing. Fat in the butt is a good thing.
Garfield.
She shouldn't ask.
Don't do it, brother.
The worst thing to do is ask a question and expect someone to lie to you. Expect someone to tell you the truth and learn to accept that truth.
Here's where I want to interject. Oh, sorry. Sorry. No, because I believe, I'm with you, Dawn. Tell her the truth. And Garfield, I'm with you. Tell her the truth, but have some tact. The way you say, be funny, you know what I mean? Tell the truth, but you don't have to be nasty or mean about it.
You don't.
Garfield.
There's no nice way, bro.
Or you can even say, do you really want me to answer you truthfully? And that kind of puts them back to say yes or no. And if they say yes, then you tell the truth. If they
Brother,
say
don't
no,
do it.
then say I'm not going to answer.
Yeah.
That's your escape out.
Don't
Either way,
do
she
it.
got the answer.
All right, so look. We're having a chat before, before we started. Yeah, right?
Might bring them together. Did you think of that?
You're
Bringing them together.
synergy.
It goes back to when you're authentic.
Yes.
You have deeper, more meaningful relationships. You really,
I guess you're right.
you really do. And she knows that you're lying. She would not ask you if her butt looked fat in a dress. If it didn't,
But we live,
but
we
she may want
live
you
in
to say
self-deception. We live in certain things. I mean, everybody. If you're a confident person, you know your flaws, but you see yourself in this vainglorious glow, right? I mean, if you're strong within yourself, right, and you have a good self-esteem, you see yourself in that light. So you don't want anybody to take away that. That shine.
Hold on, can I say something? I said that Trisha Chung Foster said, yeah, it's not it's how you say it. I want one of the guys who watching come on and say, yes, that's right. I want one of you chime in and agree with the ladies as I said that.
Maybe they disagree.
Yeah, but I just want
think
one
one
person,
guy.
Garfield, do it, please, or somebody, because
are you asking him to lie?
that's our topic for today.
Hi, Mish from
Right.
Atlanta. Thanks for joining.
So speaking about lying, okay,
all right.
what's the stat? Men lie how much time more than women?
About 5 times more than women.
When men lie about themselves more, women lie to protect others.
Right,
more.
correct.
Yeah.
And we lie all the time because we have to keep that up the house.
Up it.
Right, Garfield?
Up it.
Up the house. All right.
But what about the
all
other side of it?
So let me ask you this question. So do you think, because you said you know some people who would just be, all right. So if you ask a question of any man out there, both of you, you just want the answer.
I do.
I want the truth
And
with
it
tact.
has to be.
With
It has to
tact.
come. What is tact? All right.
Meaning-
Does my ass look fat in this shorts? Answer me.
Yes.
Yeah, but it looks good, yes.
Yeah. Oh, so you say
Yeah,
yes, and that's how I like it, or
Yeah, it
something.
looks good.
All right, gentlemen. So the next time you get that question,
You wanna
is,
ask about
oh,
your-
and I love it. Yeah.
No, I was hoping he was going to put me somewhere.
What do you think about it?
No, over
So that would be a fine. Everybody that's there, I want you to the ladies. So that would be fine, right? If we say, yeah, baby, you do look fat in that dress, but that's how I love it, or something like that. Is that bad? No, that's bad. What you say?
It
No,
has to
but
be
I like
authentic.
it.
No, it has to be authentic though. If you like it like that, then yes, you can have that follow up. But if you don't, still find a tactful way. Maybe your honey putting on a little bit too much weight. So maybe you suggest things like, we're gonna start cooking at home, and we're gonna manage what you eat,
Or
whatever.
try
So the
Try
whole
this
time,
other
so the
dress.
whole time,
Try
so
this
the
other
whole
dress,
time,
try this
other
other
dress.
dress.
so the whole time we at the banquet or wherever we're going, she remember the one pin I help her put in the back of the dress while we're sitting down. and she's not going to be confident that as she should. Right?
That's not necessarily true.
But it's on her. It's not on you. It is
But
on
it's
her.
her baby. I
No,
want
but
her to feel good.
yeah, but it's you can't make anybody feel good or feel. You can.
Oh, sorry.
But it shouldn't be. You can, but it shouldn't be that way. It really needs to.
But that's
But
reality.
here's why you should tell her truthfully. Because if she did gain some weight and her butt is fat and she doesn't like a fat butt, which a lot of women I know like a fat butt.
No.
But if it's excessively, I've always liked my fat butt. But if it's excessively fat, the reason you should tell me that it's gotten too fat is because now I can do something about it, and you've given me that honesty in a tactful way. So I'm more health conscious, which makes me live longer and happier with you.
But
See?
Dawn, that is just my opinion.
Yes, but I may
And you
agree with you.
asked
And if you're in a relationship with someone and you ask that person, you should be open to the truth and accept the truth.
So the question is it asked to find out whether you look big in the dress, or did you ask to say if the person accepts you this way?
I want you to just tell me the
Are you
truth.
valid
Your
your
opinion.
opinion? Yeah, right.
But your opinion may not
And you-
matter at the end of the day if I still look good in the dress too.
But you
You're
asked.
gonna
You
ask.
asked,
But
so
I
the
wouldn't
opinion
ask.
matters.
I told you guys
No,
this.
no, no.
I am
But
not
this is
gonna
from
ask.
the
In this
standpoint of somebody who
scenario,
doesn't ask.
you should
Yeah.
tell the truth.
Okay, so it's the right thing. After this, I would like to push the argument to ask about from the other side, right? But why I don't think it's ever a good idea to answer that. If she is in fact fat in the pants, to say yes, you're fat, because at that point, when she's asking that question, there's a certain amount of vulnerability that is there.
True.
Yes.
So you might want to either avoid the question or just say, you look fine, you look great. And then at a later time, if you really see the need, you say, babe, hey, we're going to work out now or whatnot, bring it off that way. But at that point, no, that is the wound, if she's asking a question, she's feeling a little bit vulnerable. No matter who wants to deny it or not, she's feeling
She
vulnerable.
probably is, but the truth.
Right.
But and the truth does hurt.
It
It
does.
It does hurt sometimes.
But
But you
that
know,
doesn't take away the
But I always say it's about the truth. You might not like it, but you have to respect it.
Respect it,
It
yeah.
will be respected. And again, I hear what you're saying with that. I mean, you're right, and I hear what you're saying. You wouldn't ask. So protect the feelings, but address it at some point. But you might. It happens to me all the time. Sometimes I don't like to hear the truth, but I cannot disrespect that truth. It has to be.
you have to
respected.
tell the truth
Yeah.
because if you lie, she will know you're lying. That's one.
But she,
Because she
might
already
admire-
had a doubt to
But
ask
she
you
might
the
admire that
question.
he's sparing her
And in the
feelings.
next time, the next time she asks, she's not gonna trust your feelings. Tell her she's fat in her dress if you think she's fat. She's asking you for you to tell her the truth, not for
Listen,
you
hey,
to shoot.
bro,
Right.
I'm
Listen
married.
to that.
Listen to me. Trust me, brother.
All right. I have another coin phrase
I
for this
couldn't
because this is great.
Eh?
I have another coin phrase.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. Stretch.
The truth.
Sometimes it's okay to stretch the truth.
Which is a
What's
lie.
that, the
Which is a
truth?
lie, Natalie. But here.
Yes, great.
I love it.
But you don't have to go to the extreme and go, you look fine or whatever. Just if you know what? You can tell the truth in a lie. Like, do I look fat in this dress? No.
Just say yes.
No.
Just say yes. The
No,
truth
no.
is the way to go because then whenever she's looking hot and confident and you say, yes, baby, you look good, she'll know you're telling her the truth. It's not a reason to lie that she doesn't
You know
look
what?
good at
I
that
see exactly
moment.
what you're saying, Dawn, and I see exactly what you're saying. And I see it. Let's move on.
I want to ask you this question. So, do you think that we're pre-wired to believe lies, or we're pre-wired to be naive and believe the things?
Oh, I
because
know.
that's an evolutionary disposition that we have.
I know tons of people who know it's not the truth, or the truth is being stretched, and say,
They believe believe
I
what
want
they
the
want
boat
to
not to
believe.
rock.
They
Thank
hear
you.
what people hear
Thank
what they
you.
want to hear. People see what they want to see.
See.
You could
Yeah.
read the same sentence and take something else out of it, depending on my mood, depending on my attitude.
But I'm saying if you're telling someone a lie,
right.
we're pre-wired to initially to believe it.
It depends. I think it depends on your environment and how you were raised. Like I remember the day before I was migrating to the United States of America, still a teenager, and my mother trying to give me a crash course in life, saying, Shauna, don't drive home the same way every day. Don't go home the same time every day. Don't believe what people tell you. People lie. And she was like, oh my God, I raised you children so naive, whatever. So it really just depends on your environment. There's some people who treat other people like you are guilty until proven innocent. And then you have other people who give people the benefit of the doubt and want to believe what they're saying. So I think that belief or no trust depends on the actual individual.
But the reason, as I said, we're predisposed to just believe things for face value without digging even deeper is because, like, if you're going through the bush and you hear a rustle in the bush, as you know, as a naked with your loincloth and you're walking down the savannah and there's a lion in the bush, or you think you hear a rustling, you're like, you start dig, you start to cook, right? But it may have been just a bird, it may have been nothing, but the fact that you ran, that you didn't lose anything. If you had said, that ain't nothing, and there's a real lion in there, there's a lot to be lost.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think those of us who went through the Darwinian stage, right, are predisposed to believe these cues. You know, somebody tells you something, better you believe. You know, that says somebody tell you who they are, believe it.
There's people show you who they are.
I think no one knows your truth like you do, obviously. So I think that's why it's so important to be honest and truthful with yourself, with your family, with your friends, with people you interact with. I think people respect you more. I come from a family of, which a lot of island people do, a family of secrets, of lies, of deception, and I think in the long run it hurts you. It doesn't prepare you for who you are at a young age if you know your truth and you share your truth.
Did you prepare your kids for that?
I have.
Did you do the Easter Bunny thing?
No.
Did you give them $1 when they
I
learned
did do
the
the
truth?
Santa Claus. So I have lied.
Okay, so you lied.
But at the beginning stages of my life, some of those untruths came through, and I carried on those traditions.
So you're saying if you were to have a baby
as
now,
I get older,
you wouldn't do it now?
So can I
certain things I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No.
So those things I participated in, but I didn't pretend like it came from Santa Claus. They knew that mommy bought those things.
Oh, so you told them from Jump Street? No, Santa didn't bring this.
No,
Okay.
I'm not doing that. They know that we still went through the thing of we're leaving the milk and the cookies, but
Wicked,
they know,
I applaud that. Nice. I don't believe it. I don't believe in that food.
And no tooth fairy and no.
But what I'm saying about like,
I'm sorry if you guys do, but I'm sorry I don't like it.
With the family side, in having that kind of background and upbringing, I consciously try not to do it. I'm not saying I don't lie, but I want my kids and everyone around me to respect me for my truth. And if you can't handle that truth, then that's your problem. It's not mine.
Right.
But I want you to know that whenever you come to me, whether it's as a friend, I'm gonna, it's what I believe at that moment. It's the advice I'm gonna give you. The reverse side of that, to some extent, is sometimes my kids say stuff, and it's so truthful that now that has carried off on them, and they don't have the maturity yet to like to filter it, make it less subtle, like we've talked about. But I do want to raise honest kids that are tactful and respectful and honest as well.
Do you train kids to not train them away from lying, or you train them into lying?
You asked a question earlier that do you think we tell more lies now as adults versus children?
Right.
And I think children are just so raw, just so they don't mean any harm. They just like, I can leave it up to my kids to tell me the truth. It's interesting because you see the change as they get older. Like my 11-year-old has more tact. Like I remember I put on something and it never looked right. And I was asking, same thing, how this look, and my 11-year-old said, well, mommy, that's not really your speed. Was the way she said it.
Nice.
And I loved it. That was her telling me no, but she did it tactfully. While my younger one will just say,
No.
Love them both. Different
Well,
personality.
You ever seen a toddler with fake crying?
Oh yeah,
That's a lie.
they say kids start lying from about.
Start lying before
months.
you can take off.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
So-
that's the only way.
Absolutely.
That's the only way. It's just like any primal thing. If you cry and the food go in your mouth, you cry again for more food.
No, but in that situation, they're crying. Nothing is wrong with them, but they know
They
they're
cry
crying
to see
because
who's
they know the
coming.
reaction that they get when they cry.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're faking it.
I
You're
do,
lying.
I do have
Yeah.
to give a shout out to my sister from Turks and Caicos. Hi, Julie.
All right,
Thanks
all
for
right,
joining.
big up. Peace. Hey, you know what? Now that we have seen and we'll pass over this part of the show, where we understand that we do lie to keep the peace. We do lie for negotiation of peace. Our little peace
Yeah.
treaty with either a significant other or within the business or so forth. Now, let's ask ourselves, are there levels of lies that should have different repercussions?
Right.
Yes, and consequences to it?
Okay. Who's going?
Well, that's why.
Well,
Well, that's why we want to get away with it, right?
But I think some lies should be told because of the repercussions after. No, that's a very, very tenuous tightrope. Yeah, because you don't know what can happen. You can only think you know what's going to happen. Take for example when FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when he was president, he couldn't walk. But I mean, it's a whole different world then than there was now.
Yeah.
But the media respected that so much that they never took a picture. They never filmed him in his chair, and he would be hoisted and carried up to the podium to address people, and they would make it look as though he walked there on his by his own volition, right? And that was done so as to not, and I guess in the nation's naive mind, not to show weakness.
Weakness, right?
And I think it was warranted. I think it was a good thing, you know, because if you didn't, the country was in a very precarious position at the time, and any weakness could have been pounced upon by other countries, right? JFK lied.
Yeah.
JFK lied about several things.
Well, they're all.
Clinton lied.
I mean, they all lie, but I'm talking about the lies that we know about,
Right.
and we know
In
looking
our
back on it. I
times,
would
yeah.
think that, okay, so I get that. You
So
know what I mean?
Clinton lied. That was a big one for
What
the
did he
but
lie
let's-
about?
but
What are you
let's-
talking about?
But he shouldn't have lied.
No,
It
no,
was
but
just a
let's
lie.
let's
You
talk
should have
about-
said yes, brethren.
Let's talk about that lie though, because here's the thing: you asked the question, should certain lies have various consequences? But here's the thing: why I agree with you to really, really try not to lie, even though we all do it, is when the truth comes out, it has so much more of a
Yeah.
negative impact. Like take Bill Clinton, he lied, flat out lied. It's recorded. It can, which is what I also don't understand about the current president. It's like they're recording you, and you will say one thing today, and then claim you never say it or do it the next day. It's
Right.
not a. I mean, that is so much lies now that we actually expect it, which is another story. That's very sad. But going back to Clinton, no, you make yourself look like an asinine fool.
Right, plus they have all these experts that can tell that you're lying. So they could tell based on how he distanced himself, I've never had sexual relationship with that woman.
Yeah,
So you can tell because you refer to
Right.
her.
But you know, even if you're not an expert and the person lies, I mean, it's horrible. The line is horrible, but we still have to think about one thing. He's thinking of himself as a president who, and this is wrong of him to think that he's a president. I'm the person leading this nation, and I'm supposed to be flawless.
There's no such thing as a
Exactly.
flawless
Thank you.
human being.
Exactly, and that is where the problem lies. Like now, I remember most of the times when politics start, like we just went through our midterm elections and stuff, which we will discuss a little bit later on. Let's throw the words around on how everybody feels. But one of the things is we're hearing every time there's an election, we're hearing less and less of the issues that we need to deal with, and more mudslinging all over the place. I mean,
That's a tactic. That's
I mean, what we're going to do? Pull on everybody about the lie. Everybody lies. As far as I'm concerned, especially when you get into politics, just like I said at the beginning of the show, it's you're being a salesman. You're selling a product to the people. Say, vote for me because my product is the best.
Politicians
And
live
it
in a
doesn't
gray
matter.
area. Yeah.
They have the right, but they can whip out the American Express or what do you call it? I can't say any of these.
Oh, but every mass says that twisting the
Yeah.
truth
Yeah.
or the perception. You know, the media does it too. I mean,
Another coin phrase: twisting the truth, stretching the truth.
yeah. It's just, I mean, but let's talk about politics because you know we had an election yesterday, and the outcome was interesting. The race was very, very close.
Right.
Not to mention lovely Florida.
Oh, I love my
think
friends.
overall-
I hope everyone voted because I'm going to tell you personally. I have a few friends, Jamaicans, and I have another friend from Trinidad that we were in a discussion, and I couldn't believe my friends around the age of in the 40s and early 50s were saying it doesn't matter. Let me tell you, you don't want to see how angry I got.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's a very
What does
ignorant
it take?
statement. I'm sorry if that
But a
offends
lot of
anybody.
people.
No,
It's a
no.
very ignorant statement.
I know, and we do have. I mean, I think it comes back down to people just going to work and coming home, going to work and coming home.
It's a
And when I say
distraction.
somebody, because they're not as social and having talk. Well, people are social, but still talk about crap. They're talking about the old party and this and that, rather than talking about current events, rather than talk. And it must be coming from me, the village man, again, where I'm thinking about these things we need to talk about. We need to talk about what happened to little Johnny in school. We need to talk about what he came home and said the other day. We need to talk about what issue we're having maybe at the prices of food, can't get health care, we can't get the prices of the education. All these things that are up, infrastructure are going down, and we have money in stockpiles and not using it for that. All these issues we should be talking about. Immigration, we should be talking about that. That's something that we should be talking over the dinner table, or when your friend comes over and says, boy, come and slap two domino. You talk about these things. So if we don't talk about it, of course, because life's become mundane, and you're that gerbil or whatever in the squirrel
I'm
cage,
sure.
people just
You
think
think it's
it doesn't
because we
matter.
don't talk about it? Why these people think it doesn't matter? Or
I think so.
They just want
I-
to put their head in the sun.
Well,
That is it.
Well, I think
Most
it's a
of the time,
combination.
when everything is well, go ahead.
No, so
don't
I
know.
was saying, I personally think it's a combination, but I think specifically here in America, they have created such, or we have created such a consumer type life that we are distracted. Where the media is distracting, what happens in politics sometimes I truly believe is by design to be a distraction. I think we've distracted ourselves. We've gone out and purchased things that we really don't need, and then we're scrambling and spending how many hours working to try to pay for these things. We've gone away from a simple type lifestyle to a more complex. So it's a
But that transformation took
It's a
place a
combination.
long time
Right.
ago.
It's a combination.
I wouldn't blame that on what's happening right now. That happened a long time
So-
ago.
Okay, I'm going to take it from me on a personal level, which is I didn't vote midterm elections till now. I think on the Caribbean edge, and for a lot of people that worked at the voter registrations, all the people out there campaigning have done an awesome job in educating. We even had Marlon Hill come and join us on the Caribbean Edge in hopes of educating at least a couple more people what the midterm elections means, and that cannot be discredited despite the outcome, whether it's favorable.
Yeah, it should be applauded. Their efforts are to be applauded.
Definitely. We saw that more people came out and voted. The awareness has definitely gone up, where people are worrying even more so about, you know, the upcoming elections. So therefore, people are scared because people are getting out and voting. So we saw where Congress, we took over most of the seats and got the additional seats in Congress. There's volume spoken in a lot of that. So we don't want to take away from that, is what I'm saying. So despite the outcome, whether you agree with it or not, positive steps, and thanks for everyone that's making a difference, because like some of the issues that Keith mentioned, I know for me personally, it's about healthcare, because I have so many friends that are struggling to get it for pre-existing conditions. So those midterm elections, which is what we try to educate people about, allows those decisions and discussions on a state level. So it impacts us more than the general.
You know what? I have some comments here that are very valid comments. Some people choose not to get involved. That is an option also that's out there for anybody who is on this planet where they're living. That is an option that they can use for themselves. It's personal to them and why. No, hold on a minute. I have something to say about that too, because
the premise of that statement is just off. It's just you know, the statement just makes no sense.
But this is
you're involved. If you're breathing, you're involved.
But it goes right back to what I was saying. If a person's going to and from work or whatsoever, and they're only concerned with themselves, what do they lack? Empathy, right? Mm-hmm. They don't think of anyone else.
Yeah.
So when they say, I'm here, I'm fine, and that's where what it lacks when a person says, well, I'm not going to vote.
But here's a problem though, because if you can have that stance and think that, okay, fine, I'm just going to be within my own cocoon, and I'm not going to engage. Mm-hmm. The problem is that the fact that you live here, you work, you pay taxes, or you reap the rewards of people who pay taxes. Whatever, you are now engaged, whether by voice or action or just by your existence. You are engaging. So you cannot make that statement anymore about no. Some people just don't want to get involved. It's not for me. I'm sorry. Then you know what you need to do? You need to take a trip and leave and don't come back. Because you are involved, you are here, you are disregarding your responsibility, and it's irresponsible. It's irresponsible.
You have a social responsibility.
Yeah, it's disgusting. The amount of people that came out to vote, you know, we're simmering in a stew of lies. Lies coming out of the Oval Office, and the worst lies are the ones that come from our friends or the people that we engage with.
Right.
Because I posted something about this the other day. These lies. People who, and I know that there are people that are doing this, that they will nod their head and say, yeah, I know it's such shit. It's crap, isn't it? I know, that sucks. But secretly, when they get into that ballot, into the room, and they cast the ballot, who are they voting for?
We were talking about
They're
that
voting
today.
for.
It's true. They say one thing and then go do another thing.
Because the offenses that are coming out right now, and yes, this might sound like a partisan statement. The offenses that we're being hit with right now, whether it is misogynist or whether it is racist or whatever it is, these offenses that are coming out, it doesn't hit them where it hurts. It doesn't really affect you. You might not like it, but the good things that you think are coming out of it are worth more than the negative that is coming out of it. So you're going to vote for what you deem to be positive.
You know, you said something a while ago, which I was trying to articulate it earlier when you, Keith, asked about the different level lies. I think people lie based on the consequences, or most people lie because they don't get punished for it. Mm-hmm. You know, and then of course the chances of being punished for it or having some consequence because of it, if that's bigger, then you're going to think twice before you do it. I'm not talking about pathological liars or people who just can't help it. Everyday people. Yeah, you do. You have that moral compass that you throw it up against. Oh, I can get away with this. Yeah. And even if you find out it's a lie, it's not a big deal.
No consequences. Right. So don't do it. It's no big deal. It's a
Yeah.
problem.
The here's a point that was made by artist. Thanks for joining us today. He said that you have your opinion and that's good, but you can't talk for others, which is a point. They have to let
Everybody
their
has to
voice
speak
be
up.
heard, or be dragged in the mire by whatsoever is there for them, and not complain after that. I should never hear anyone complain if they have the opportunity to
Yeah,
vote.
if
and
you
don't.
if you chose not to vote,
Especially,
then that's your choice. However, I think about it or whatnot, but you can't have an opinion. And actually, I reject the premise of that, because what that says is if you don't vote, you've not participated, right? But I'm still going to feel the effects of your voting
Or not voting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
So I, by all rights, yes, I can cast opinion, because I am at the receiving end of your choice. We're not islands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're in this together. So everyone's actions reflect on everyone else's.
You know, Douglas said made a good point, and we have to let people make a choice without judgment, or you're gonna get pure light, and that's true. The
Yeah.
one thing that we have to do is not really, which our show today started talking about lies, right? And people have to accept other opinions and say, well, you know what? It's just like a topic from a biblical documentation of the Tower of Babel, when they were trying to shoot an arrow up into heaven, right? Now what happened after that is that there was tons of people there speaking different languages, and what they did, they have to assemble by who understand who, and they went their way with the different languages. I am saying the same thing with opinions. If you don't agree with a person's opinion, you can't shun the person. Let the person live with their opinions. It's sometimes hard to take, but it's one of the reasons why we have the Caribbean Edge, because we want to start the talking, and we want people to go home with their opinions, and we want people to be open though to listen to another person's opinion, and if they want, say, why? Then you have to have some decorum too, because if you do, it's like raising a child. As you start to speak to the young one, if you start to punish that child, or even an adult, we have the same feeling. You punish me, I'm not coming back around you for the punishment. I don't want to have that. So we will not talk again. We have to have respect for everybody's opinion. I have tons of friends who are Republicans. I have tons of friends who are independents. And I have tons of friends who are Democrats. And I have tons of friends from
It's a
different...
lot of friends.
Yes.
But your grievance is not with
It's
their
not
views.
exactly,
You
because
just
we
want
break
them to
bread.
act.
Yeah, we break bread. Exactly.
Just act.
And it's the strength of each of them with their opinion and the way they present their opinion that lets me say, why? Sometimes, even in the back of your head, you're saying, why? I don't understand nothing about whichever route you coming through and your experiences let you see it that way. Hear what? All right, peace, my brother. Anyway,
But that's what
pass the
one of-
anchor butter.
That's one of
Remember John Rivers, can we talk?
Yeah.
But one of our viewers says we have to respect other people's opinions. So
Yeah.
if there are people out there that choose not to get involved, choose not to vote, then that's their option as well. And even though we think you should go out and vote, and you do, not even if it impacts you directly, which is what Sean mentioned as well, it impacts the future. It impacts future generations.
And your loved
It
ones
impacts
are there.
the elderly. It
We're vested.
impacts people that have illnesses. So yes, your opinion is valid. Don't get us wrong. If you choose not to vote, then that's also a personal choice. But there's outlets, and we're saying start the communication, start talking, start learning more, just like I did personally about midterm elections. I think each time we have these conversations, we can agree to disagree.
But you learn a little bit
But
more.
you may learn a little more. It may open your mind a little bit more. You can live in a bubble, but at some point you'll have a friend that is sick or a loved one, and it directly impacts you. So don't
Or,
wait
Right.
for
or
that
is
to
being
happen.
paid less minimum wage. All
Right.
these things.
So
I
don't
just
wait
think
for
that-
it to happen to get involved, to
Right.
make change for what you see as a value to yourself and to others.
This
I would like to
go
address
ahead.
it from this angle is black and brown people weren't allowed to vote until not too long ago.
Right.
It wasn't too long ago. And so what message that sent at least the way I perceive it, is that you're not a whole human being. You're not counted as one. And that changed. People fought, people died for that. And so just to reaching out to specifically the Caribbean community, for that reason alone, that your voice can be heard, to make these
impacts,
have this impact that affect us every day. It might not affect you right now, but like Dawn said, your family, and it could affect you next year. Who knows? But just the fact that this is your voice. This is how you get out there and speak out loud and have a say. So just from that perspective alone, like, why wouldn't you do a little research? Why wouldn't you? You don't even have to leave your house. Just request an absentee ballot and sit down there and do it.
I just want to address something really quick. We've gone into a zone where our culture has gone into a zone where we don't want to cast judgment. We don't want to offend. We don't want to ostracize people. But see, there are consequences with that. There are problems that come along with that. And what comes along with that is that nobody voices their opinion because they're scared to ostracize anybody. Now, if we're grown-ups and we're mature people and you have control of your faculties, then there's no reason why you can't have an opinion. You can't voice your opinion, right? Now, everyone here has varied opinion. Just because we're sitting here doesn't mean we agree on everything, because I'm telling you categorically we don't. Right. But we have varied opinions, right?
That's right.
And so this is part of the problem with what's happening out there, outside of out there in your interactions with other people. We don't speak about certain things because we're scared to be looked upon a certain way. Right. It's almost like we're devolving into childhood instead of evolving into maturity. We can't have these mature conversations anymore. I cannot tell you that, no, I think it's reprehensible. I think you need to vote. Yeah, without you saying, no, but you're judging. Okay, I'm judging.
But you know what?
Shoot me.
I had a neighbor who I had a very light conversation on that had entailed politics. And yeah, he used to borrow my lawnmower. I used to borrow all my stuff to do his hedges and stuff, you know.
Can't get icy from him now.
Yo, brethren and sistrens, let me tell you, the man grass would grow up in my hustle and sweat, and I'd be like, hey, you know, I can't call the name, but you know, everything is here. And I'd see his wife and I'd like, put this in the garage so he don't see me and he can't use it. Yo, my man would not use it. Over that, can you imagine?
Oh, because you share different political views. Okay, all right. I don't know where it was. But it's 9 o'clock.
Oh my, this is another one that goes on for a long time. But of course, you know, we're looking forward to when we start hitting the road and we can have a live audience and we can go on a little bit more. Maybe we'll revisit some of these topics and we'll have a great time. But you know.
But before you sign off, though, what are your parting words? What would you like people to take away from this episode?
Well, I would like everybody to know that, well, first of all, that I lie, you lie, no, whether you think it or not, and it's just the words or the labels that we put over it. Like we've heard, stretch the truth, bend the truth, fib, untruth, and it may not stab as hard as somebody said, you're lying. But we do, whichever label you want to put on it, we do lie. We're imperfect beings. And the one thing that we can do is try to do it. Be as honest as we can, and try to be around people who are accepting of the truth, and move on.
Yeah. For me, I want to basically start with myself, and definitely just the majority of why I lie is to protect, and to be mindful of that, and don't feed into that so much, because your example, or everybody's example actually, on looking fat in the dress, maybe me saying, yes, you do look fat in the dress with tact, is actually more helpful than it is hurtful in the long run. It might be hurtful at that moment, but in the long run. So I'm starting with a promise to myself to not try to be so motherly and protective of people's feelings, because I'm assuming, I'm making a decision for people thinking, oh, they can't handle the truth. Well, guess what? Maybe they can handle the truth, right? So starting there. And then also to hold people accountable, Because sometimes I know a person is lying or omitting or twisting or stretching or bending or whatever you want to call it, and I don't call them out. I don't call them out. So that's the next thing too, is like, no, that's not okay. We're not, no, I'm going to tell you my truth, and we can have a discussion about it or whatever. So, right? And then, and the last one is, going back to politics. I would love for a world, I want my children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren to grow up in a world where these politicians don't lie to the extent that they do. And how do we get there? Because out of those lies come corruption, right? Come racism, come sexism, all negative things, not positive things. So I know we're flawed, I know we're human. However, they need to be held to a higher moral compass. How are we going to do that?
Don't know, because there's evidence and they're still lying.
You know, I know the perfect way to do it. Continue to watch the Caribbean.
Thank you. For me personally, I've already expressed. I don't lie, so I surround myself with people that can accept my truth. And I'm not going to change who I am for anyone. So I believe in telling the truth. And like Shauna mentioned before, I think in the long run that you will accept that truth for what it is. And I expect you to give me back the truth as well. And I try to be as tactful as possible. But I don't think I spare your feelings by not being open and honest. That's in my personal relationships, my friendships, as well as my profession. I find myself trying to not be as honest professionally because it is my profession, and sparing people's feelings to some degree, I have to do that. But on a personal level, I don't have to. I'm kind and nice and honest. And I appreciate all the friends that I have that accept that honesty, and my children too. That's it for me. Take it away.
No, I think what we touched on lying and politics, I think to really put everything together, it's about relevancy to me. What you say, what comes out of your mouth, how you interact with people, it's relevant. You know, people respond to what comes out of your mouth, what you say. Whether it's a lie or the truth, there are repercussions to that. So you're relevant, you matter. Same thing for politics. You may think it's just one vote, but your vote most assuredly matters. It makes a difference. No matter how insignificant you think it is, it makes a difference. So, tomorrow when you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, understand that you matter. What comes out of your mouth matters. Your actions matter. A man's reach should always exceed, grasp should always exceed his reach. So whatever you think, whatever you would like to accomplish, whatever you want to see, make tracks towards that goal. All right?
Cool.
Thank you.
So thank you everybody for watching another episode of
The Caribbean Edge.
We'll see you next week. Remember to like, subscribe, follow
Click
us
the like
on
button.
Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Share. Invite 5 friends to our next episode.
55. 55.
Thanks again, guys. Have a great night.